Hey everybody, how's it going? We're still at Willy'S place. He hooked us up with those sweet home light parts, so we gotta help him out. Look what he got, guys. Good for you, buddy. MS440. I've seen this ad on a local classified. The price was right. It's got a broken handle. Any of you that have had one of these has probably had a broken handle at some point. Mine's got a broken handle. But he got this saw, and I'm going to go over it with him and just show him what to look for. And like, I'd be surprised if this thing has much use. It looks like it was backed over, or
I'm sure of it.
Yeah.
The way the bar's bent, it looks like it got run over.
Yeah,
the handle is completely.
The bar has a twist in it, and the handle's broken. But he already ordered the parts. Like, the day he had this in his hand was the day he ordered the parts. Literally. So we're just gonna go over this saw, and I'm gonna show him what to do. Well, we've already checked the compression, so yeah, we're good there. Let's have a look at the air filter. Air filter looks good. Nothing untoward there. Here, I'm gonna turn it this way so you guys can see. Let's have a look at the fuel line, the impulse line. We're gonna check them to see if they're squishy or not. A squishy fuel line will collapse and your saw can go lean.
Under suction.
Yeah, or it can just rip apart and fail, and then you'll end up, your saw will go lean when you lean it on its side. Almost like I own this same saw. Okay, so what do we got here? This is a Walbro Carb HD, I believe. Let's see what we can see here. Okay, so right now I can already see you do have a slight fuel line leak. I need an 8mm there, friendo. Oh, your carburetor. Okay, so guys, we already found the first thing on this saw. Here, I'm going to zoom you guys in here. Well, he's getting me a wrench. Thought I'd show you guys what we're up to today. Look at this, guys. This carb nut is completely loose. So, now what could happen in that scenario? Well, it won't get into the motor, but that's going to create a lean scenario because the carb is literally pulling away from the flange. So, we're going to take this apart. I'm going to put you guys back on the tripod. We're going to take this apart, pull the carb off, and I'll show you guys what's going on in there. You can take those off if you want, buddy. Yeah. Just having fun. He lives a couple hours for me, give or take. I don't know if it's that far, but...
No, it's about an hour. I don't know. I always tell myself to leave an hour early, and then I always end up being
hour and a half,
way
maybe.
Later than I planned.
Basically, he lives at one end of the province, and I live at the other. So, more or less. So yeah, when I come hang out, we make a day of it. We were just murdering trees in the backyard.
What's coming off here?
With that home light. Okay. So we're gonna slide this plate back if we can. We might have to take the handle apart.
No, I don't really want to do that.
No?
Only because it's broken. It did get run over, so I got her back together.
Yeah, let's take the handle apart. T whatever.
Yeah.
Just the top cover. It's not a T27, it's a smaller one.
I had it out already. Never used this toolbox. I think it was a 20.
Yeah.
23.
We're just gonna have a look at the flange behind the carb and make sure the intake boot is good. Turn this down a little bit. It's getting cold here in the Great White North. There you go.
I use the flathead is what I did. That's why when I grabbed that tool, I was like, I used that tool. I know I did.
So basically what we're doing here, guys, I've made this mistake in my previous life when I wasn't a chainsaw guy. Okay, apart. That's typical.
Broken, right?
You get your new saw and it seems to run okay. This saw does start and run. It's got lots of compression, but look, I already found a loose carb nut. What happens? So this is going to end up pulling back. Now, if we do this right, these Stihls always, they don't want to vent. And when you pull the carb off, they're going to squirt gas out of there. Okay, so we got this. here. I got lots of spare parts for you if you need.
Well, I definitely need at least 3
miscellaneous
screws.
I got screws, buddy. I got this too. I got air filter, plastic. Like I probably got one of these that's not broken. That's what you got to do, guys. If you got parts and your buddy needs parts, you give your buddy parts. That's the way I work, because you can always get more parts. You can't get more buddies. So
Not true.
I believe in this system.
Not to mention half the reason to keep stuff lying around is just in case someone needs it, not if you need it. It's too good to throw out.
Okay, you guys see that move? I tilted this on its side. If I cracked this, or if I left this tight, I would have got a face full of gas there. Okay, so I'm going to show you guys. That mounts on this carb flange here. Okay, and basically this saw had an air leak and we didn't even know it. It would have, if we took this thing in the bush cutting, which is what we were originally going to do, and went cutting with it, we would have been, this saw would have leaned down and we potentially could have scored the top end. Fuel line it's not stiff, it's not spongy, so that's good there. I wouldn't even worry about that. Impulse line is getting a little bit hard. Your new tank will come with an impulse line usually though. So
oh, yeah?
Okay. So if your impulse line is too hard and you get a leak at the impulse, your saw won't start. Because that actually puts suction on this and it creates a vacuum, and when the piston goes up and down, this diaphragm pumps up and down, and that's your fuel pump.
Yeah.
So you're fine. We're leaking a little bit of gas there, but okay. I'm just gonna pause it here, guys. We gotta do a little modification in here. Okay, got to get some more Canadian Go juice. I got the carburetor off. These little red things which we don't talk about are gone. Okay, so I don't know if you guys are going to be able to see this. So here's the first thing I do. So I check the impulse, I check the fuel line, everything's good in there. This saw is actually pretty clean. I'll bring you guys in here. Sorry guys, I hit the button there. We can just edit that away. You guys see the piston? Yeah, right there. She's clean as a whistle. Let's see if we can get that to zoom on there. Anyhow, you guys can see in there, no scoring, no signs of anything. So right there, we got ourselves a runner. Just because the saw has good compression, put the autofocus back on. There you guys go. Just because the saw has good compression don't mean... I've pulled saws down that are completely, like they feel like they're new saw until I look at the piston and there's pieces missing out. I had one the other day. 266, you guys haven't seen it on the channel. The saw goes thump thump like crazy. Piston looks clean on one side. The other side there was a big chunk missing out of the piston. Such is life. Okay, so we're clean on this side. We got no damage. Our impulse is a little stiff, but it's not bad. And our fuel line, it feels okay. He could replace those in the future if he wanted to. Basically, we want to run this saw today. So now what I'm going to do, get you guys in closer here. Let's see if we can do this. We got this fancy tripod now. Got this fancy tripod, so we can make magic happen. Oh, look at that. We're fancy here today. Okay, got the carb here. I'm sure some of you have seen this before. Okay, we're going to check the diaphragms. So what do we got here? Schmutz, probably fines from a dull chain, typical. This is the kind of stuff I see all the time. There we go. So yeah, we got some fines in there. Diaphragm looks okay. The carb's actually quite clean, and you can see right here on this side, that's the filter for the inlet. It comes in here and it goes through there. So the filter has done its job. It's actually super clean in there. Got a little bit of dirt on here. Just blow this off a little bit with a little air. Okay. Again, guys, just showing you guys the basics, and I'm showing my buddy here. He's getting a wood stove, and he's going to be cutting wood, so he needs an all-purpose go-fast saw, and I mean, what's better than a 440? This is one of my favorite Stihl chainsaws, period. This carb is actually remarkably clean. Okay. Okay, this side, diaphragm down. This is all carburetors. I can't think of one. Okay, so basically these little flaps open and close, right? With the impulse of the motor and let fuel past. So when these get stiff, they'll curl up and they don't close, and then your saw doesn't run. Most saws that don't start, 90% of the time, it needs
How do you know which side goes down?
Doesn't matter. It's just you got the two holes.
Yeah, okay.
You'll
You
like,
couldn't reverse it.
no,
I see,
yeah,
'cause
like
the tab
you
hides
keep,
behind
yeah.
the jacket.
And really, what you want to do, I do this all the time, and I kind of forget.
Yeah.
There's usually a tab to pull it up. Where does the tab go?
Yeah.
So that's all carbs. You usually these two little flaps. If they don't sit flat, it's like a reed valve.
Yeah.
Okay, so there we go.
And she doesn't pump right.
Yeah. Now, your gasket goes on the top on this one. Gasket looks good. This carb is shiny, new, clean inside. So I don't foresee any issues. Impulse goes forward. Right? So it's easy to line it up. Which side does the fuel line go in? That side, so the impulse goes forward. That's a Stihl thing. You got to drop parts on the floor, right, guys? His floor is cleaner than mine, though, so... I lost a circlip pulling a saw down the other day. I heard it hit, and I found it on the first go, and it went like 12 feet across my shop.
It's like when you drop a bolt in the engine bay and you never hear it hit the floor. You're like, oh no.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah, it's...
I've lost a few soldiers out there.
I was putting a saw together one night.
Guy keeps bolt bins around.
I was putting a saw together one night, and I dropped the only circlip I had for it, and I couldn't put the saw together. I ordered a new one, waited like 3 weeks, and on the 4th week, I found the circlip on the floor. No joke. Hashtag saw life. Okay. Just getting this up. This is probably going to be full of sawdust. Maybe not. My 440 used to collect sawdust in here. Don't know why. Could never fix it or recreate it. Let's see. See that?
Yeah.
Almost like I work on saws too much, eh? There you guys go. Do you guys see that? Now, the symptom of that is your saw will run... Where are we here? Your saw will run way too rich, because what it's doing, it's holding the needle open. Okay, it'll push the needle down, and it's letting fuel into the carb all the time. Now, you got to be really careful. Just want to make sure we're still on film here. You got to be really careful pulling this off. This thing's clean inside. Now, this diaphragm, if they get stiff, you can hear it. It'll go click, 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 click when they're stiff.
Yeah.
You're probably gonna...
It's like tin canning.
Yeah, you're gonna need a diaphragm probably in the next little while.
Well, we'll rebuild it when we open it up.
Yeah.
There.
We're gonna port this saw, guys, down the road. Whenever he's ready, I want him to get used to this power saw and run it. Because I don't really want to just slightly tune this thing up if I'm gonna... Unless that's what he wants.
No, we're gonna let her rip.
I don't do... I'm gonna say something, guys. I don't do light porting. I hear light porting all the time, and I like a strong work saw. If I'm gonna go to all that trouble to port it, I like something that wows me. Not too much. I mean, it still is a work saw, but I like a strong saw, and I like a 440 build. They warm up quite nicely without too high a timing numbers. I'm just going to pause you guys. We're going to do some cleanup. Okay, I can't remember where we left off. I want to show you guys something. Metering levers. Let's see what we got here. This is your metering lever. You guys have asked me. I've had emails. That's your metering lever. That's what allows fuel. You have a needle and seat here. That's what allows fuel into the carb. If this is too high, it's like a teeter-totter. If this is too high, it moves more and it lets more fuel in. If it's too low, you don't get enough fuel. If this isn't set up properly, your saw won't idle. It'll either go lean at idle or it'll overfuel at idle. Okay? Now, to set this up, and I'm going to try and hold this in such a way, there you guys go. Autofocus is giving me troubles. There we go. If it should be flush on this carb. You got to find the specs for your carb. This is flush with this, okay? That's how you set those up. Okay, so nothing going on with this carb. It's pretty clean inside. Just checking out this. This isn't too bad. It's a little stiff, but I'm not super worried about it. I used to be super worried about this kind of stuff, but it's like literally it takes 5 minutes to replace it. So, and we already had the saw running. It actually runs really well. You done well, my friend. He got this thing for a smoking deal. And
well, I did just what you said, and I've bought some things with motors. I mean, I'm not a saw guy, but I've been around. And I checked the compressor. I pulled it over, and it was like thump, 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 and he couldn't get it to run, and he wanted what he wanted, and I wasn't going to give him that. And I got it for what was a very, very good price.
Well,
I knew if it had compression, and for what I paid for it, and what I know we were already going to do to it.
Well, you don't want to overpay for a saw. There's always more saws. Nothing's worse than paying top dollar for a saw, getting it home, and realizing that it needs all kinds of work. Yeah. And I mean, you know me, so I mean,
once you start having to do top ends and cylinders, then life gets a little more pricey. You're like, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it gets to a point where you have more money into a saw than it's worth new. But I mean, really, if this thing needed crank bearings, we could make that happen in an afternoon. So it's not like, okay, guys. So we got the carb, a little dirty under here, but we're not doing a full deep clean of this thing today. It is pretty clean. This is a lot cleaner than a lot of saws that I own. So, okay. So everything's good. You want to make sure that this little ring's in here. I'm just going to move you guys so you can see. I got to put the autofocus back on. There we go. So basically this thing was loose and we were going to have a situation. So I'm actually quite happy that these are nice because they just right back in there. There's the cap. Always remember that. Crack the cap. Yeah. These stills don't vent in a way. If you pull that carb off, you get a mouthful of fuel.
Yeah.
I know a guy that's done that about 30 times in his life, and his name is me. I'm bad for that because I don't work on stills a lot. Still makes a good chainsaw though. They're just different. I've never been a fan of this carb box arrangement, but it's just different. Okay, so we're going to leave this all like this. I'm just going to pause you guys. I'm going to put the handle back together. Yada yada. Then we're going to go to the front end of the machine. I want to take a look at the clutch, make sure the clutch is in good shape, and then we can run this thing. Okay, we're just going to pull the clutch off. Let's see what the clutch looks like in this. I see a lot of blued, nasty clutches. Let's see what we got here. There we go. Sprocket's got some wear, you can see. I'll give him a new sprocket when he's at my place. Okay, buddy, here's your clutch.
It's been hot, but it's not blue.
Yeah, it's not terrible. Your clutch doesn't look blue. I'm just looking.
Is it supposed to have the mung in there?
No, that's because somebody's greased it. So you probably want to wipe that out.
I was just gonna say.
He's not a particular. You're not particularly a chainsaw guy, but you're a wrench like me, so it's you understand.
I just don't understand. Yeah.
You'll get the hang of this chainsaw and this goodness pretty quick. These are very simple machines if you've been wrenching. Okay, so what I'm checking for in here, guys, no broken springs. I'm making sure that there's holes. Let's see if we can get in there. There's holes right here. These holes get wallowed out, and you'll hear the saw going clank-a-clank-a-clank-a-clang at idle. That's the sound of a clutch that's going to let go, or you'll eat springs. You don't want that. That could do a lot of damage. So a clutch that's spinning at 13,000 RPM letting go. So you guys know the deal. If you get a new saw, you want to check it over. I see you done good here. If this side of the piston looks as good as that side, you got the deal of a century. Broken handle, who cares? It adds character.
I got plans for that handle.
She's got a little band-aid on her.
Oh,
he's gonna do something with that handle, guys. He's gonna see. if you could fix it, and I like that. Because what if you can't get a handle?
Well, I can get a handle, but
No,
here's the thing. But it's not going to be here till possibly December, and I ordered it 2 weeks ago already.
So that's the beauty. So he's like me.
I want to use it now.
Yeah, and it's like, what if you can't get a handle for the saw? And you can get all kinds of parts for these, but what if you have a saw you can't get a handle for? I like the cut of your jibs there.
We're gonna give her a go. I got a couple ideas. I used to fix a lot of bumpers and stuff like that, auto body, and plastic welding and such. So I got a couple ideas I think might work.
You have a little grease, buddy?
What kind of grease? Like just
anything.
high temp?
Yeah.
There's some right there if you just pop it
out. Perfect.
That's my finger dipping grease.
Oh yeah. I was looking for finger dipping grease.
Yeah.
You don't want to put too much because of course you get that scenario. There you go. Pop her back on. Now, I'll show you something. So when you put this on, there's your drive for your oiler. There's a worm gear behind this.
Yeah.
Okay. So when you're looking at it, there you can see it. It's sticking out right there. See that little tab?
Okay.
So you want to line that up.
Oh, there's even a notch on the outside too.
Yeah,
that's a mark on it.
That's a Stihl thing. That's how Stihls like to party.
I like things that are dummy proof and just not dumb.
There you go. There. It's sometimes if you put that on there, you're not going to get the your sprocket. 3/8/7 tooth says on it.
Is that what I want to run for that 24 I got coming?
Yeah, I don't do gearing changes. In my saws, a lot of people do. Again, I'm never one to argue about what works for you. I just, if I want more speed, I'll just port the saw. I guess
diaphragm kit and a chain catch.
We can go inside and order that.
I'm just making my mental list.
Okay, we're gonna pull the muffler off. Let's see what we got going on here. Hey, you guys can see. We'll just do it like this. You guys know how pretty I am, so. I had to quit my career in modeling to be a YouTuber, so. This is nice. You got all the factory hardware. I got all the screws for this top cover for you at home, buddy. When I bust down a Stihl, I take all the, because I mean these screws.
Well, you'd love to, because I put a Robertson in that one just to have something in there. But yeah, you know what it's like when you're taking apart stuff that other guys have put wrenches on, and you need 4 wrenches to take off one thing because there's 3 different bolts on it.
I hate that.
Yeah, I saw. Because you got it wrong twice.
I saw the Bobby. Yeah. That's how you know we're Canadian, eh? We use the Robertson fasteners, the Bobbies. I don't party without a.
I like a Robertson.
Oh, I like a Bobby.
I'll tell you what, I've been let down by a Phillips a lot more often.
You know, guys will argue screw heads with me. Do you know anybody that's installed more fasteners? Like we ballparked it at work one day. Well, I do 10,000 bobbies a month, minimum 10,000 bobbies a month for 17 years.
Yeah. That's
120,000. Like I'm at 2 million bobbies and I still love them. So they're a good fastener. This thing's clean. You just punch a hole in there.
How big of a hole?
Oh my. Oh dude, you need a top end. Check that out. I'm just kidding. It's beautiful, buddy. Looks great. Oh, that's a nice saw.
I like how the sheet gets brighter.
Oh yeah. There, now you can see that there. See any scoring? Nothing there.
I had a pretty good look through the exhaust port.
You can see, yeah, it gets a little shinier light, buddy. There we go. See that piston, guys? No scoring, no nothing. There we go. Heck of a deal, buddy. Well done. You know, I found this saw, I found the ad, and I was going to buy it, and I thought, again, you got to share. I figured this was the saw for you. These don't come up for sale very often. When they do, they're usually gone. I don't know why this didn't sell.
It wasn't up there very long. I got it 2 days after you sent it to me.
Normally it's like 2 hours. Because
really?
some guy like me, or you fellas,
oh, you know what it was?
Turn the autofocus back on. Even that.
The broken handle.
Usually some guy like me, I'm just going to pause you guys.
Diaphragm.
Yeah, I'll help you with that.
Yeah.
Okay guys, we're going to throw this thing back together, fire her up. We're going to go outside. He wants to learn carb tuning, and you know, I do carb tuning now and again on my channel, but I've never done a carb tuning video. And I remember when I didn't know how to tune a carb on a chainsaw for years. Wonder why I blew my first saw up, because it was hot one day and I was bucking big wood with a little saw, typical scenario, and I blew my saw up. And I know why, because it was too lean, because I didn't know how to tune a carburetor. I know, Tinman, the chainsaw porter, didn't know how to tune a carburetor. True story, guys. I say this all the time. I wasn't born building saws.
I when I was turning wrenches, everything was fuel injected already, and I just learned how to be real good at fixing wiring. And I always thought voodoo happens inside carburetors.
I learned carburetor tuning because I'm a bike guy.
Yeah.
And I didn't stay away from fuel injection. We were doing power commanders and custom maps.
Yeah.
And that's why my bikes were fast, because I always had custom maps and I put my stuff on a dyno. So this kind of stuff, I mean, I'm going backwards. I don't even have a scrunch this nice. This thing's fancy.
That came with that there farm boss.
I know. He has a 290? 290? MS 290?
I don't know. We'd have to look at it.
Quite the upgrade, eh, guys? And it's funny, these saws are... I think this one feels...
That one feels heavier every time I pick it up.
Hey,
And
how
it
long
feels
have you had
heavy
this
every time I
saw?
pick it up.
Long time.
6 years. Probably has a manufacture date on it. It was new when I got it.
2012.
There you go.
8 years.
8 years.
It's been a good saw, right?
Yeah.
There you go. So, but he's upping his wood needs, and
Well, that just basically my chainsaw needs up until now have been cut
yeah,
trees that have
that's
blown
fine.
over.
I'm not one of those guys. Oh, you gotta have this and that. It's like, no, you don't.
No, it's just a tool. You know, it's a thing you gotta have around if you're gonna have a bunch of bush.
We can take the recoil off, but it's clean. This is a nice saw, guys. Okay, we're gonna bar this thing up, put a chain on it. We'll give your chain a quick sharpen. Actually, this is my chain.
That's your chain.
And we're gonna take this thing outside and run it, and let's tune the carb. In fact, we might make that a separate video. I'm gonna fire this thing up once we get the carb all good, and I'll do a separate carb tuning video, just to streamline things a bit, make it a little bit easier when you're looking for carb tuning. So we'll be back with a running saw.
Ah!